Hi crafty friends, Irene here with Artemis Made, and I'm so glad to bring you the first video of the new year. Happy New Year! So this card was inspired by Craft Roulette episode 248, and we're going to talk today about how to create texture and visual interest on a white on white card, which can be challenging because, it's white on white, but this is how I like to do it. So I start first with texture on my background. I used a pierced cover plate called Spring Leaves from Honeybee. And then I'm going to do another little bit of layer of texture by adding dimension to a shaker. So not only am I lifting the element with dimension, I'm making a shaker tag, but I'm also going to add that sound element with the shaking, and it's going to be glitter because it's a sparkly little shaker fill. So here I have already glued together 4 of the layers of the tag, and I'm just showing you I'm going to add the 5th layer to it. And this is all, again, out of white cardstock because it's white on white. So I am putting it all together, and then I'm actually going to take one more layer, and the last layer is going to be out of glitter cardstock. So now I've got my pierced background, so I've got some visual appeal there with the leaves pierced into the background, and then I'm also going to add glitter to the top, and you can see here I've got dimension. So I'm trying to add some shadows into my image with still using white on white. Now here is my glitter cardstock top plate, and then I'm going to put those two together, and that's going to be my shaker tag. And beyond that, the next thing I need to do, of course, is add some acetate. Now I ended up adding quite a few layers to my shaker, but that's because I'm using diamond dots as my shaker fill. I've never actually played with diamond dots in their traditional sense, where you make, those beautiful art pieces where you glue all the little dots in. I kind of like watching those videos, to be honest with you, but I've never actually tried it myself. I might go a little bit cross-eyed if I tried, so I'm just gonna stick with using it for shaker fill. So here I am putting my my double-sided adhesive all the way around the tag, and the acetate has a coating on both sides, or I should say kind of like a plasticky film layer to try to keep it clean, because it can be pretty sticky. So I'm removing my acetate there, or the covering for it, my gosh, and I am adding it to the shaker. Now you can see here I've got it kind of bowed out a little bit, but it goes right back into place really nicely. So I like using the double-sided tape. I think it's a good way to keep it secure. Now I'm pulling off the covering on the other side of the acetate, because it's actually on both sides. But once it's off both sides, you can see it's nice and clear and bright, that you can see right through it. So now once again, I'm adding more of that double-sided adhesive, and I am going to add this this layer. I forgot that it can be a little sticky. I'm going to add this layer to the full already dimensional tag. So again, I'm adding texture with my background, I'm adding dimension, I'm adding glitter. So there's all these different types of elements, but they're still white. So all of this is creating visual interest and actually differentiating the front from the back, the foreground from the background. And you can still see all of these elements even though they're white, which I think is really interesting. So now I'm taking my sentiment from Paper Rose. I really like this one because it's kind of chunky, and so it's easy to hold on to. And I layered it up here, and I'm going to add the final white layer. Now, what I didn't actually catch on camera, I apologize. I did add one more top layer, and I did it in silver, and you'll see why in a little bit here. So anyway, so this is the dimensional sentiment that I added, and I show you there how it's got a little thickness to it. So here is the background. We're going to adhere that, and here are the diamond dots. So this is, again, another way to add that kind of that interest without adding another color. So if you notice too, a lot of times shakers have a background to it, like, a back side that's holding in the fill. This time I decided I was going to actually let the background of my panel do the talking for me. So I didn't put a background on my tag, my shaker tag. I am going to adhere it directly to my card front and let that pierced panel be my background of my shaker. So I thought that was kind of a fun way to incorporate the background and still letting it stand out. Now, if you see there, I added some ribbon to my tag, and the ribbon, again, it's a different kind of fabric. So, or I guess you'd call it fabric, maybe. But it's got some more texture, some more interest, and it's got a little hint of silver in there. And that's why, even though I was originally going to do a white sentiment, I added one little layer of silver. So if you do a little bit of an accent color, that can be a really nice thing too. I think it still counts. Do you think it counts? It's still white on white, right? We would allow that, I think. I also did this for the Simon Says Stamp January challenge, which is white on white, and because I'm part of an Instagram hop, monthly hop for white on white cards. So I'm getting more and more experience with this particular style. Now, I did that really large tag because I wanted it to be my focal point. But once I did it, I felt like it still needed a little bit of something. So I started to go through and thought, okay, what can I find in my stash that would allow me to still see my shaker, but have something else to it, because it is a pretty large tag. So then I remembered I had this beautiful butterfly from Simon Says Stamp. I absolutely love this butterfly. I just think it's really, really sweet. I love the pattern on the inside. But you notice it's got like kind of a transparent element. It would be really good for the inlay die cut technique or die cut inlay technique because it's got so many open areas. But because it's got open areas and it's delicate like that, I thought it would be a really good fit for a white on white card, because even though it's got its own, shape, its own interest, you can still see through it. It can add some shading a little bit. You can make it pop up a little if you bend the wings forward a little bit so that they're kind of sitting up from the card, but you can still see through to the other elements on the card. So I decided that was going to be the best fit. So what I did here is added it toward the bottom, and then I added my sentiment toward the top, and here we go. It's our shaker card, white on white. So what do you think? I hope that you had fun with this card, and I hope that it encourages you to grab some paper and craft something that really makes you smile. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.